So as mop-up operations continue in George following flash floods that left many homeless, Gift of the Givers has stepped in to lend a helping hand. The humanitarian organization has teamed up with the police to facilitate relief efforts along the Garden route. Persistent downpours left a trail of destruction across the Southern Cape where several roads and schools were closed. I'm now joined by Imtiaz Sooliman, Gift of the Givers chairman. Imtiaz, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Just paint a picture for us a little bit. I'm sure you've been there on the ground as well. How bad is it?
Good evening, Tony. Yes, it's, the area that is being forgotten, the areas that are being forgotten, it's not the main parts of the city, which have been affected, the businesses, the hospitals, the clinics, the schools, the residential areas. But the biggest disaster is, as they showed you in Thembaletu, there are those informal settlements that have been very, very badly affected. Another place called Khashindota, Wilderness Heights, Maria's Kloof, and there's many more. And with each hour, we're getting calls from several areas that we never knew of. So the calls are coming mostly from informal settlements. When you walk into the homes, as the community police forum man discussed today, the water has risen into the homes. It's destroyed all the furniture, all the bedding, all the clothing, all the food, and even now the corrugated sheeting on the side and the roof. And that has been a major problem, and it's going to be an even bigger problem because on Thursday, they're expecting a very, very heavy downpour. And the police, SAPS, and disaster management are asking us to bring in plastic sheeting because the residents are worried that if their roofs are not closed, the homes are going to be totally destroyed. And that's an urgency right now, to put plastic sheeting on those roofs that are open. So inside those informal settlements, the destruction is huge.
So what are they needing? I mean, is it food parcels, is mattresses, and the people in the informal settlements, that those homes are destroyed, there's water in them. Where are they staying at the present moment? Where have you moved them to?
Well, moving is not our responsibility, it's disaster management responsibility. Some people have been moved, like in Wilderness Heights. People have moved into a church, 16 families, and they had to come down the road because vehicles couldn't go up those roads to collect their food parcels, blankets, and mattresses. So there's two ways of doing it. The one way is those who are in their homes, who can manage, who just need new blankets, clothes, food parcels, hygiene packs, diapers, sanitary pads. Those people are given the items in the home where they can cook. But there are other areas where you can only give them some of the items, but you can't give them food parcels because they can't cook. And that's when you need to support soup kitchens. And several soup kitchens have registered with us. We started off last night after 9 p.m. and your team, Ronald, was there live at the Magistrates Court, where we provided bulk items to several of the community people who cook for the communities in various informal settlements. And today, of course, that list has grown for many more soup kitchens, many more people wanting to support soup kitchens and to support the communities. But remember, this is now limited specifically to George. The problem is not only in George. The problem is expanded into Oudtshoorn, Mossel Bay, Knysna, B2 and other areas, which also requires similar assistance. And those calls have been coming from those areas because they know of our involvement in George itself. So to answer your question, they need the clothing, the blankets, the hot meals, and Checkers ShopRite is our partner in providing hot meals in addition to what we're giving to the soup kitchens and the food parcels to those who can cook themselves. They cook themselves, we don't have to look after them, they can go ahead. But urgently, there's two other requirements. What I mentioned was the plastic sheeting to prevent further downpour getting into their homes, and that's an urgency which has to be done before Thursday if the weather prediction is correct. And if the downpour comes, it's going to be a major disaster for those homes whose roofs are open. And the other request, which has come in a big way, is for pets needing pet food. And tomorrow we'll be providing pet food for many of the pet shelters, to take care of those animals. And then there was one more request which has not come through yet. Michael Fonk, CEO of George Hospital, met our team members on the plane from Cape Town to George and said, look, the hospital has been affected. They're going to do a survey to see what's required, and we may be called upon to assist the hospital. And also a lot of the staff of the hospital and other people we're meeting, their homes have been individually damaged, but more than just the damage in the roof or the wall. And we look at those requirements also.
And for the first time in your history in disaster management, you're now being assisted by SAPS. You speak of them, allowing you onto their base as well. Talk to me about that, please.
Yeah, it's unusual. Look, we have a very good relationship with SAPS. We've been having it for quite some time now. And our first I mean, we've been working with SEPs for years, but the real first relationship came with them in 2018. Where when I say first relationship, I don't mean we met them for the first time. It's where we got very close. It's when one of our volunteers was shot in Hanover Park. And, we called in SEPs, and within 2 hours, the anti-gang unit was in the area. And 2 days later, those people who shot our volunteer, gave themselves up. And right now, the case is going on in Cape Town, and there's a lot of evidence against them. And we've done a lot of programs with them at eNCA Police Station in the Eastern Cape, with the provincial commissioners, with the minister himself in various parts of the country. Gender-based violence projects, we had several of them running, last month with the SEPs. In fact, we had a program planned in George this week with SEPs. And now, because of the rain, we had to stop. We've met all the sectoral commanders. But that same base, to answer your question, the Eden cluster base in Heatherfield is where we were a month ago, working with SEPs. And they came forward and said, look, you can use this facility. In SEPs history, they've never allowed a civil society organization to use their base. But please use it. We will assist you, pack for you, use our vehicles to deliver food items. And SEPs, in the last few months, in our relationship with them, are becoming more and more socially aware. Well, that's not the right statement. They are socially aware, but they didn't have the resources, and they don't have the resources to help communities. And by us partnering them, their activity is more apparent in the community, where people are more willing to work with them. There's more respect for the police, and that goes well for developing a police force that has the trust of the people.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. So, Dr. Imtiaz, just a quick one. So, anybody who wants to assist can just find you online, Gift of the Givers, and I'm sure they can communicate with you that way and also assist in so many of the things that you said those communities actually need. Thank you so much for speaking with us there.
That's Dr. Our toll-free line.
You have a toll-free? Yep. 0800?
0800 786 911.
0800 786 911. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, Gift of the Givers chairman. They're assisting, as always, this time around on the garden route after all of that flooding, and more rains expected as well in the next couple of days. Okay.